Oriental Dragon gets a name. Valwyn transfer nerf now explained. And leaked Lost Colony trailer reveals the Giga Desmodus, or is it Desperus? You're right kids, it's Raasclark and welcome to your regular ARK community news. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share around, and let's get into it. Because arriving with Community Crunch 488 is a first look at the Eastern Dragon, now given a name, the Aureliax. I'm gonna probably have butchered that name, but get a little closer up look at this creature. A monstrous sized beast. We obviously got a first glimpse at in that key art revealed last weekend. This one sporting a lovely blue, purple and yellow overtone. With some wonder, do those mystical glowing eyes mean more than aesthetics? The devs have been pretty coy on the descriptive for this one, no dossier offered with this reveal, but it's explained it's weightless yet commanding, drifting above, deliberate and unhurried as if weighing the world beneath. Any encountering speaks of duality held in perfect harmony, with what seems to be a decision on whether it decides to raise you up or cast you down, depending on what you bring before it, suggesting that perhaps the taming process might be a sacrifice of some form or other, possibly a dropped item, but it's a wonder how on earth you're going to reach these things, seeing they're being suggested to be high up in the skies. Or will it be skies at all, with a recent Discord post by product manager Dolly to confirm snow, trees and rocks, but not the sky? It's a wonder if this region here, where we first saw the Solwyn, is actually pointing to some form of heavenly space that we can transcend to during the exploration of Lost Colony. There's perhaps some form of Homo Deus heavenly space that you can travel to at a whim, just like teleporting on Astraios. I mean, looking at this key art, it is suggested the same area you find the Solwyn in is possibly the same place you find the Aureliax. And it does seem very far removed from the dark and dingy pits we've seen so far from this Lost Colony teaser. Nevertheless, it's looking as gorgeous as ever, supported with a player straight in front of it, with a gloom on its shoulder, confirming at the very least that glooms are going to be shoulder pets, with a wonder what on earth a gloom's going to be doing when it is residing next to your head. Could it be some form of maybe charged light lantern pet? Maybe. I'm noticing too the sword that the player has sheathed too isn't quite the tech sword skin that we've got with the Lost Colony pre-order pass stuff content. Is this possibly a brand new sword skin, or even a brand new sword supporting brand new armor? Because that isn't quite the armor that we know from the Lost Colony content we've got so far. The giant red fingernails we've got with the current dark tech set are missing. So could this possibly be a brand new tier after all? We'll have to wait and see on that one, considering there's definitely at the very least another armor set to look forward to. That wintry looking version there of the faction that seemed to be the Rebel Alliance against Palpatine himself. I'm so sorry for the Star Wars puns. But yeah, everybody's excited to tuck into this one to check out what the Aureliax is going to offer in terms of vast changes of gameplay, flying a giant serpent-like beast in the air, and something in fact you voted to be one of your most favourite fantasy creatures you wanted to see in ARK at some point in the future. We did a poll on this a few years ago and this came in at number 4, with already one or two that we had in this video now been added to ARK 2. It's a wonder if the others suggested in this vid might be added to ARK at some point in the future. How powerful it will be is anyone's guess. Of course, we'll be running tests on that as soon as it comes out, but something that won't be as powerful as it was is Valwyn's. It's now been confirmed by Wildcard what they intend to do now with these transfers to Lost Colony. If you forgot a quick recap, when they first announced the introduction of Valwyn's, they did say we could transfer these over to Lost Colony Day 1, because they're going to be creatures you use to evolve into either the Solwyn or Malwyn. So players understandably have been going mad taming these, breeding these, mutating these to create some absolutely monstrous versions of these multiplying jumping ice foxes. The problem is, of course, with mutations, these things were hitting obscene melee and health numbers. A lot of cause for concern was already being raised within the Discord over the last few weeks, with Wildcard suggesting they were looking into it to provide a solution. And they decided something to now not allow any Valwyns with any mutations to not be transferable. Unmutated Valwyns, however, will still be allowed, with them explaining that fully mutated Valwyns would dominate the early game and flatten progression. Many of you, understandably on official servers, aren't too happy about this. I don't know what the solution could have been, but this was what they went with. With quite a split point of view on whether this was the right move to do or not, there's no doubt there had to be some control on allowing these to be transferred, especially looking at PvP and getting wiped out by some monstrous Valwyn day one, but still allowing that transferable Valwyn for that experience that I guess Wildcard intended. Initially announced that Wildcard can simply say, well, we never said you could send over mutated Valwyns, and in fact it's quite a unique moment for ARK, because if you don't know, mutations work very differently for ARK Ascended. Treated now as a separate stat rather than a stacked stat has given Wildcard the opportunity to use this as a parameter for anything in the future of ARK, and this is the first time we're seeing this implemented into anything. Naturally, I'd expect this for a limited time without a worry to, of course, single player or unofficial servers, because I'm sure there'll be an option to turn that off if you decide to transfer over your mutated Valwyns if allowed to. But whatever Wildcard were going to do to limit this experience was always going to go down like a bit of a lead balloon, really, wasn't it? In fact, preventing mutations was something we suggested in our video earlier this week on issues for Lost Colony and its launch. With it being so late in the day, I'm sure it was coincidental, but I don't doubt I'm going to be called Patchclark once again and get a bunch of hate as a result. Hey, it was just a suggestion, man. But another creature that's getting some new changes is now the Megalosaurus, voted in as your very final TLC creature. It's locked in as the last week of votes. The never used on any other map but Aberration Sleepy Man is unquestionably a creature you want to see TLC'd. What they're going to do to this, seeing that, well, at night time it is still a pretty powerful creature. You know, if you use these things on Aberration, they're a bit of a monster there, but I definitely agree on any other map, because of the sleeping mechanics, it just doesn't seem worth bothering with. How on earth this is going to be TLC to create that balance between how powerful it already is at night versus what it can do in the day, though it's meant to be a nocturnal creature, I really don't know, but it's something you definitely want. And it appears you'll have the opportunity to actually suggest the TLC changes you want to see. In next week's Community Crunch, they'll be sharing how you can send in your suggestions for each of the upcoming TLCs, so keep an eye out for that. And with the Megalo now locked in as the final TLC, joining the Therizino, Giga, Quetzal and Aranio, I look forward to seeing how these community-earned creature TLCs will be brought to life over the most raised ever for an Extra Life event. Over 200,000 raised, more than Wildcard have ever raised for any Extra Life event ever, which is massive, and also possibly cements we'll be seeing maybe even more TLCs for next year's Extra Life as a result. There's no doubt about it in my mind. In fact, ironically, it might be one creature that actually might be useful for this upcoming DLC Lost Colony, because it seems to be completely shrouded in night if the lore is accurate enough, though we have purged the world, reseeded it of corrupted elements, so the world should be rotating now. And speaking of Lost Colony, no doubt you've seen this doing the rounds, a leaked trailer that spread everywhere introducing Keith David as the Lost King and a brand new creature. I'll let the voice bit play out so you can hear what Keith David had to say.
Giga Desperus, your master beckons. The time for battle has arrived.
Our first glimpse at in-game cinematics, something that Jeremy promised with this map made by Kudikors all year round, and gives us a close-up look at the Lost King in his shiny new dark tech armor. Very much looking like the vampire he certainly is, adopting a fascinating new symbol seemingly replicated behind him on some form of door. I feel like this could be possibly the cinematic we're going to find at the end of the map, the introduction to our boss fight perhaps, or maybe even the introduction to the map completely. Because we get our first glimpse at this brand new creature, the Giga Desmodus or Giga Desperus. I'd love to hear your comments below on what you think was said. It does sound like the dude is saying Giga Desperus. I had to repeat this video many times to understand his pronunciation. Even slow down, GP did a video on it. It does sound like Giga Desperus. But whilst it feels a bit on the nose to be Desmodus, it does feel perhaps some evolved version of it with some representation of the original Desmodus model. Don't forget that original key art beast. I'm still firmly pointing my fingers on it being some form of Desmodus, and come on, it's a bit coincidental that Nakata's just added it to his S variants mod, right? Either way, this is some giga-sized version of this beast walking out, I'm guessing the Lost Colony Castlevania-like doors, bellowing out a very familiar Reaper-like screech. I'm hoping that was just a placeholder until they actually introduce the sound effects of this new beast that's looking absolutely glorious. The question is, can I tame this, or am I just fighting this? I don't know, I get a feeling this could be our boss encounter, and if that's the case, is it going to be Mei Yin after all? Could it simply be this being our boss? Maybe there's two fights. Maybe this is the creature you've got to work towards to get all your creatures buffed and ready to fight, and then you get a one-on-one PvP fight. I'm still kind of hoping for that, dreaming for that, I know. And it's a wonder how this one got leaked. Links were passed around. I saw NanoStel drop a link to this on his Twitter. I got screenshots, posted them around other places as well. A lot of people thought this was actually AI, and it's a real shame to hear that. Screw you, AI. But the answer was staring us in the face. If you clicked on the video and checked the views, okay, it's bumped up a heck of a lot since we first saw this. It was, I think, originally around 2 million views when we first saw this link. It's now on 4 million views, which was confirmed by Dolly. It was actually a YouTube ad they had put out there for people to see, and somebody had the clever idea to actually just copy the URL and then paste it. And damn you, YouTube Premium, for making me miss out on this one. I wonder how long this has been running for since they dropped it. Super hyped to see how many more of these in-game cinematics we're going to be presented with when we play Lost Colony next week, with the artist Caleb behind it, sort of alluding to it possibly being the Giga Desmodus being called that, but it does use my quote, so let's not take it as completely accurate, though we'll be showing off the painting that he did for that after its release, so I'll definitely go and follow Caleb if you haven't already. Actually just now recently showing off the Lost Colony armor set that he illustrated, looking stunning and a definite replication of the skin that we got in the game. And in fact, interestingly, look at there in the bottom of the art, it does say vampire armor. Can it not be any more obvious now? It is vampires in ARK. Come on, it's there now. And kind of curious, we actually get to see a early concept idea of the Lost Colony logo there in the bottom left hand corner. But yeah, definitely go and check out Caleb's Twitter. He's been posting a bunch of stuff, a bunch of artwork he's been working on. In fact, a few little teases on his plans for Genesis, though I think this was for the original Gen 1. This isn't for the upcoming revised version of Genesis. I'm not going to bite into this too much and start creating some wild and wacky theories on this, but he did in fact confirm the Cyclops boss we got with the Strayos before I guess it was even added. I'm not sure, time-wise, maybe. Looking very similar to that final Widowmaker fight we now get to face on that map. And speaking of which, Nakata's just dropped a brand new teaser on the upcoming expansion to the bottom of the map, the giant desert area down there, with this massive city region called Flayakion. Am I even close to that? But if you know Nakata's and you know what he loves in the world of media, you will know this is of course a direct inspiration from Minas Tirith itself, from Lord of the Rings series. I mean, yeah, it's an absolute win. I can't wait to move into this new place. And we actually got to see a very early alpha look at this new area that's going to be added when it's not going to be this month at this point. There's no way with Lost Colony arriving next week. I'm going to guess maybe late Jan, maybe Feb. I don't know. I'm guessing there's going to be a good timeline on when is the best time to drop this. Somewhere, I'm guessing, between Lost Colony dropping and the next map after that, because it bridges the gap quite nice and well there, doesn't it? But something else that'll be bridging the gap, Winter Wonderland. It's coming back to ARK at some point, I'm guessing just after Lost Colony launches, hopefully bringing back those crazy, wacky, death-defying, flying Christmas jabois. And of course, Raasclark giving you all of those high-level creatures to be awarded each time you sleep in your beds and you've been nice. Dolly Explains will find some info on that in next week's Community Crunch, and hopefully it might be at least some compensation for those lack of mutated Veil wins. It's a wonder what wild and crazy levels we'll get with this event. In fact, being the only time you can get a tech trike, I believe. I've been told, it's been suggested to me. I actually haven't seen the proof myself, but definitely an event you want to keep your eyes open for, with all eyes now firmly locked at that release date of 12 PM Pacific on the 18th of December. It's there in big red letters. And if you're wondering, that's 8 PM for us over in the UK and 7 AM for anybody in Sydney, and do the math in between if you're anywhere else. Is that going to be the exact date? I mean, come on, man. It's a ARK map launch. We know how these things go. It'll usually be a few hours after that. Of course, servers will probably be even more hours after that, as they're bringing in the Lost Colony, installing those maps to them. But does the hype train begin now? Absolutely. This is a moment in ARK's history, a brand new story map, the first in 4 years. I am very, very, very excited for this. I'll be there, of course, day one, streaming and covering as much content as possible. So are you excited for it? Please do comment below and all that jazz. Until the next one, my name is Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, up.